Hello everyone, High Blood here. Welcome to another wizard build video footage. This one will be for the lightning wizard. I'm gonna give you guys some information I have on the build currently, some pros, cons, go through the gear, go through the skills, the gems, and as well as show you guys gameplay footage at the end. First and foremost, I'd like to thank all of you for tuning in again. Thanks for all the support, all the comments, concerns. Certainly, these are stuff that I take into account for future videos. Um, I always appreciate any further comments you guys have, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to get you the answers. So, with the wizard build, it's not the easiest to play with, at least with my experience. And it is also still an Archon build. I know there's a lot of players furious who play Wizard and are tired of the Archon build, and they're trying. I mean, there are some other variations that you can use without Archon, but Archon is by far the most DPS you can put out. And for that matter, to pass up on it, you probably won't be able to reach the higher, greater rifts. Um, I mean, the only two Archon builds is the Lightning one and the Fire build, which I also made a video for couple of weeks back. The build itself revolves around the Mantled Heal, and I'll go through that after. And you're gonna need 6-piece Taurasha set and the 4-piece Vera set. With the Royal Ring of Grandeur, of course, that drops one requirement for each set, and you can still meet the 6-piece requirement with it. The pros of the build, you're going to be putting out massive amounts of damage. It's viable, however, it's not necessarily reliable. There will be times where you're going to be attacking and you're not doing any damage, but then there are certain times that as soon as you attack something, it's dead. And that's due to the Mantled Heal 14,000%, up to 14,000% damage that you can output. What I like about the build in particular is it's quick and versatile. I love using it for bounties, for rifts, lower greater rifts, and I mean, you can even push higher greater rifts. I'm going to be showing you guys a 75 at the end, but you have to be careful. It is a little bit squishy, so you need to know what sort of movement speed, or sorry, what sort of locations you should use when you're teleporting, and how to essentially use your skills to help you survive. I like to play in a 4-player setting. I'm more of a team player than solo. So when I do 4-player with my clan members, we can easily push towards, closer to the 90 mark in terms of greater rifts. I think we did an 88 yesterday. So it definitely helps in a group setting because there's other, allies in there that take up some of the damage, and they can give you also survivability. So that definitely helps. And another reason I like this build is because your Archon cooldown is reset so quickly that you can constantly go back into Archon. That's not to say, when you're out of Archon, you're gonna be invincible and it's nothing to worry about. No, absolutely not. Even in the footage I'm gonna show you after, you'll see that there might be some close calls, and in fact, you might even die at some points in a greater rift. But it's all about versatility and strategic gameplay. And hence why it's not an easy build to play. Some of the cons are, as I mentioned, it's unreliable damage. Your defense is fairly low. You need higher Paragon points to push into the higher greater rifts. Of course, your gear is something that will factor in as well, but let's be honest, you're not going to find the best of the best in every slot. So Paragon point is definitely something that will help you out, and you need a lot of reduced cooldown and attack speed. So there are variations of this build as well that can help you with survivability, but this is what I'm using currently. So let's go through the gear. I'm using Vera's shoulders, Vera's gloves, as well as Vera's boots. So these three with the Royal Ring of Grandeur gives me the 4-set bonus, which gives me access to all of the Archon ruins as well as attack speed. Which increases, or Archon stacks, which increases attack speed, armor, and resistance by 1%. Attack speed, as I mentioned, is very important. The shoulders, I got int, all res, life percentage. Ideally, you would want vitality on this with reduced cooldown. That's a must. For the gloves, reduce cooldown is a must. Crit chance, crit damage, int. You could also switch this over with your Taurasha glove if you have a better Taurasha glove, and switch maybe the pants into Vera's pants. And then for the boots, int light, all res armor, and I'm using Vera's. In terms of my helmet, Taurasha's, again, it's interchangeable with Vera's, but just make sure you hit the 6 set bonus at the end. In this case, I rolled pretty good. Int light, crit chance 6%, and it's ancient. The chest must be Taurasha's. You can't use Vera's in this slot. Taurasha is best in slot because of the attack speed. Ideally, you would want it to be ancient as well, but in this case, you want int light, attack speed, and armor. Pants, I'm using Taurasha's int light armor. Ideally, I'd want it to be ancient. And my offhand is ancient. I rolled pretty good on it. It could be better, but what I decided to do with this is I rolled int light, crit chance, reduce cooldown, so I got rid of the arcane on crit. Some people prefer to keep that and get rid of the vitality. However, that is something that's totally up to you. I think 950 vitality is too good to pass on for 3 or 4 arcane on crit. And mind you, that also factors into, you know, do you run out of arcane when you're out of Archon mode? I don't necessarily have the problem, because when you run out of Archon mode, if you have enough cooldown, it's not going to take you much time to go back into it. But some people prefer to have the arcane on crit, so I went with the vitality. My amulet, Taurasha's cooldown, of course, you'd ideally want crit chance and crit damage, but I got intelligence and crit damage because I had to roll for a socket. Bracers, you have to use this one, Ashengar's Blood Bracers, which gives you increased potency of your shield, and you can roll lightning skill damage increase on it, so that's definitely a must. This you can change with the Parthon's Defenders if you want to go with more defense, but then you would have to change your ring to Halo of Arlis and equipped ice armor with crystallize, and that'll give you basically the armor and the defense that you need to survive more. However, I went with this particular setup because I prefer to have the obsidian ring for the reduced cooldown for my Archon. Belt, this is the only one in slot, and I got a fairly good one. You want int light, life percentage armor, and I got 49 Archon stacks for that, so I doubt I will find a better one, but there's always hope. What else we got? We got manual heal. This is what this entire build revolves around. I got int, crit chance, crit damage, and a socket. Ideally, you'd want crit chance, crit damage, cooldown reduction. And my second ring, the obsidian ring of the Zodiac, this is exactly what you want on it. Attack speed, reduce cooldown, and crit chance, and the socket. So that's definitely something I probably will keep there because it's ancient, so I can augment it. However, this you can interchange with Royal Ring of Grandeur in the cube, so whichever one you get that's better, put that in here and cube the other one. Ideally, if you get the Royal Ring of Grandeur, I think you'd want crit chance, cooldown, and attack speed. I'm not sure if those particularly roll on it, but I have mine cubed because you'd have to essentially do a lot of bounty runs to get it, but I'm not very lucky with it, so as soon as I got one, I threw it in the cube. My weapon is a Starfire. It rolled fairly well. Ideally, I'd want it to have intelligence, cooldown reduction, and attack speed with a socket, of course. In this case, I had to roll out something else for cooldown, so I kept the resource cost reduction, but yeah, if you get attack speed on it, that's perfect. However, this weapon is also interchangeable. I'm using it because I want that 14% increased damage for enemies that are 10 yards from where you are to a maximum of 40 yards. You could also use the Pig Stickler because you can roll attack speed on it as well. And then you can put the Starfire in your cube, or you can use the Ingium, helps with cooldown reduction, and again you get attack speed on it. You'd want cooldown reduction as well, and again you put the Starfire in the cube. If you have all three, pick the one that's ancient with the most damage. In this case, because I got lucky with this, I put this. However, I currently have in my cube the furnace. So this is because if I'm ever doing higher, greater risk with my clan, you know, when you hit the 88s to 90s, the Rift Guardian will probably have 200 trillion health. So this definitely helps with that. But most people argue that, you know, with your mantled heal, you're putting out up to 14,000% damage. So really another 50%. But, you know, I beg to differ. I prefer to use it. But it's not written in stone. You can use one of these and throw this in here. But this is what I have. And since we're here, of course, you want the Swami for stacks to carry into your Archon mode once you come out of it, and the Royal Ring of Grandeur. In terms of gems, you want cooldown reduction and int in your chest and your pants. Your other gems, you want the Goluk of Swiftness, you want Bane of Trapped, and you want Zaya's Stone of Vengeance. This will help increase your damage for enemies that are further away from you. The Goluk, of course, gives you attack speed, which helps with your damage output, dodge chance, and again gain cooldown, so you can quickly go back into Archon. And Bane of Trapped, anytime they're stunned, you can do more damage to the enemies. And you also gain movement speed. So that's the setup I have currently. My Paragon points, you want to go with movement speed, arcane power, and intelligence. Then you want crit damage, crit chance, or sorry, you want primarily cooldown reduction, attack speed, then crit damage, and then crit chance. And then you want, for your next one, you want life percentage, armor, or armor life percentage, depending on what sort of gear you have, all res, and life regen. And then you want your cooldown reduction in the final one, area damage, life percentage, and gold find. My follower, it's the same setup as my Firebird set, so it's the freeze build, stun. You want your freeze shield, you want this weapon, the Ongjong Do, with lightning damage on it, the Essence of Jordan as your amulet, Weird Word, and Oculus Ring. Basically, you want to maximize block chance on them. To trigger it, you want to increase cooldown reduction and attack speed on any piece of gear that you possibly can. Alright. Skills. So the Arcane Torrent is my primary attack static discharge. The reason I picked this is because it pierces into 2 other bolts, so it has a higher chance of triggering paralysis, which is what this build is built towards. So it's definitely, I think, one of the best ones. There's different variations you can use, but this is what I'm going with. And also, this is your lightning skill damage. Just going back to my gear, in order for your Tal Rasha set bonus to kick in, the 6-speed set bonus, you have to do damage of Arcane, Cold, Fire, and Lightning. So, which is why your Arcane Torrent is your lightning damage. Next up is your Teleport Calamity, which basically stuns, and it's your Arcane damage. So now you got your lightning, you got your Arcane. Next up, Blizzard, Cold damage, and this one you can actually go with either Snowbound or Frozen Solid. I prefer Snowbound because it reduces the cost to 10. Frozen Solid, some people prefer it because it freezes them, but it costs 40 arcane power. Magic Weapon Deflection to give you some extra DPS and survivability. Energy Armor, again, survivability. And your Archon is your final attack type, which is your fire. So you hit them with one of these 3, and finally you go into Archon mode to get your fire, and you have your 4 stacks for your Tal Rasha. Paralysis is your first passive skill. This is what the build is geared towards, so this is a must. Evocation for additional cooldown. Power Hungry, you deal 30% additional damage. This ties in with your Starfire, so keep your distance when you're attacking the enemies. And Unstoppable Anomaly, which basically gives you the knockback ability every 60 seconds. So make sure you don't get hit by that lonely archer at the corner, because it might set this off, then you gotta wait 60 seconds for it to happen again. Alright, I hope that gives you guys a good impression of what the build is requiring in terms of gear and skills. You can go ahead and do a run after this, and you'll see how exactly you're supposed to use it. Um, but it is a little bit tricky. Just to give you guys a heads up, the Firebird set is a little bit easier to play because you know you're gonna output the damage when the rotation on your elemental ring hits fire, but in this case it's unpredictable and survivability is definitely a challenge. So I hope you guys enjoy the game footage. So basically, what you want to do is as soon as you come in, you put your two skills on, you put your magic weapon and your armor, then you find enemies, you hit them with your first attack, you hit them with the second one, you teleport into them, you go into Archon, and as you notice, there's a 4-piece set. This is where it gets tricky. Try to keep your distance, and you can notice that some of them are melting away, whereas others are just not dying. There we go. So that's the reliability aspect of it. You don't know what sort of damage you're going to output. Oh, and don't forget to put your bubble up for your Archon. Oh, and we're out, so let's reset it. So if you notice, I still have Arcane Power, and I have Archon up, so that's one reason I rolled Vitality on my offhand. So, and I can show you guys what sort of damage I'm outputting right now. So I'm close to 3 million. And once I go into Archon again, now I have 2 stacks of Archon at the bottom, which gives you even more damage. Let's see what I'm at. So there you go, 2.9. So now it's all about finding, there we go. Boom, done. Look at that, guys. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. And that's the same thing with whether you do, Greater Rift 75 or an 80. The damage output will still make them melt. It's just the survivability you have to worry about. So, yeah, the gear can only get so good. With Paragon points, it'll help you with survivability. There we go. Dead end. Let's go the other way. What do you guys think of this build? Let me know in the comment section because I'm always curious to see if it's something that people are interested in. So if I know that people are interested in it, I can try to refine the build itself to hopefully maybe a different variation. And I look all over to make sure I find the best possible variation because I know it can be challenging sometimes. There's so many different variations of a build. Which one do you go with? So definitely, I think this is probably the best one to go with for this build, but I'm sure, you guys will have your own opinions as well. But yeah, leave it in the comment section, and if there's a better version of it, let me know, and I'll try to gear towards that and hopefully put out a new video, and yeah, we can see how that one does. But I love that. Look at that. Like it's almost like you're mopping the floor. So make sure that you guys know what you're doing before you get involved with this build because it is still challenging. So let's just see how well we can do. Wow, wow, amazing. So let's see here. Do we have any elites down here? Yep, there we go. Whoops, that was close. Oh, get out of there, get out of there. That was definitely a close call. There we go. Let's head down this way. Oh, we have a power shrine. Not that we need it, but sure. Let's see what my damage is. Oh, let's not die trying to check damage, but okay, elites. We need elites. We need elites. Let's see here. So I want to make sure. Oh, there we go. We got an elite. Bad time for Archon to run out. There's a lot happening here. There we go. Okay. Come on. Keep your distance from it to maximize the damage output. The further they are from you, the more damage you'll do to them. Alright, we just need probably one more. Oh, let's get our Archon back up here. Probably need just one more pack to set off the Guardian here. Well, unless we get a lot of trash mobs, then maybe we can even set it up with that. Oh, no, we got something. Oh, oh, oh. Let's grab some of these globes. There we go. Okay, here we go. Look at his health. Look at his health, guys. Look at his health. So this is where it's a little bit unreliable. You saw how quickly it was going down, but then all of a sudden, nothing. Oh my god. Story of my life. There we go. So there you have it. That just goes to show you guys, it is a little bit challenging to play. It's doable. Just be careful. I mean, I just died there at the end, but that's my luck. I always tend to die at the Rift Guardian for a stupid reason, but it's definitely fun to play. It's like a mop. You're basically running around cleaning everyone off, but there are times where you won't have enough damage output. So it's up to you guys if you guys like it or not. Leave comments, concerns, like the video if it was something that helped you out. Subscribe for future videos, and I look forward to bringing you more footage in the future. Happy gaming. Good luck to all of you. I hope you find all the gear you're looking for. Cheers, guys.